Spain and Morocco are just a short ferry ride apart, and their cultural flavors have commingled for centuries. So today, I'm gonna make a healthy menu that highlights both cultures: a Moroccan citrus tagine with couscous, an orange and sweet onion salad with a cumin dressing, and our dessert challenge of the day, a creamy custard with citrus zest and cinnamon cookies. And of course, an organic sangria. Hi, I'm Jen, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm cooking a beautiful and exotic Spanish and Moroccan dinner. I'm going to start with a Moroccan citrus tagine with chicken and a vegetarian twist, an orange and sweet onion salad with a cumin dressing, and our dessert challenge of the day, a creamy custard with citrus zest. But first, I'm going to start with the tagine. Now, what's a tagine? A tagine is that beautiful piece of clay pottery found in a lot of Moroccan kitchens. Now, I have one on my birthday wish list, and if you don't have one either, I can show you how to make the same dish just using a regular glass baking pan. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is start with our marinade. I'm gonna take about 1/3 cup of cilantro, 1/4 cup of fresh orange juice, a tablespoon of fresh ginger. Love the smell of ginger. And about a tablespoon and a half of paprika. Let's give this a quick blend. Now I have two things I'm gonna marinate. I have organic chicken and I have some fabulous vegetarian tempeh. And I'm just gonna spoon the marinade over both. Now I'm gonna turn my stove on medium-high and start sauteing some fabulous vegetables. I'm gonna start with a tablespoon of olive oil, and this is all the fat that we're gonna add to this dish. So it's very healthy. A tablespoon of fresh chopped garlic, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now this is really spicy, so you can use more or less depending on what you like. Me, I like spicy. A tablespoon and a half of cumin, a very traditional Moroccan flavor. Now for sweetener, I have a tablespoon of agave nectar, which I like to use as a healthier alternative to regular sugar. To that I'm gonna add a splash of wine. Woo! Give this a quick stir. Now I have 4 beautiful organic chopped and seeded tomatoes. Stir those up. And a beautiful sweet onion that's been sliced into rounds. Now I want to preserve these rounds because when I put it in my baking dish and serve it later, it will be part of the presentation. Gorgeous. Now to that, I'm going to add some kosher salt. A little bit of fresh ground pepper. Now while this is cooking, I'm just gonna clean up a bit and prepare to put it in our glass baking dish. This is smelling so good. Those spices are just so aromatic, so gorgeous. And my onions are getting translucent, so I'm gonna transfer them to our baking dish. Again, I'm just trying to keep them in some nice rounds. Whoops, he got away. Because it'll be pretty when I plate it later. Just gonna pour some of this sauce over. Pouring about half the sauce in now and half the sauce in just a minute. So the next thing I'm gonna do is add my tempeh. Now generally, if I'm cooking a vegetarian meal and a non-vegetarian meal, I'll do them in 2 separate dishes. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna do them in the same dish. I'm gonna kind of center that on top of an onion. Now I'm gonna top it with the rest of my sauce. Kind of pouring it all in and around there. Now for some olives. These add such a nice addition of flavor, and the flavor really blends in. So if you're not a person that's in love with olives, you're not gonna really taste the olives so much. You're just gonna kind of incorporate with an extra kind of added zest. And now to top it, I'm gonna use lemon slices and orange slices. How beautiful is this? And it's gonna be so good when we get it out of the oven. But first, I'm gonna cover it in foil. Now I'm just gonna loosely lay this on top for about the first half of the cooking time because I wanna preserve some of the moisture and I don't want my lemons and oranges to burn. And then for the second half of the cooking time, I'm gonna take it off so that it kind of has a chance to cook down. So just loosely on top. Now that foil will serve to let some of the steam in and some of the steam escape, much like the tagine dish. Now we're gonna put that in a 360-degree oven for 15 minutes, then remove the foil and cook it for about another 15 minutes. Make sure you always check your chicken to make sure it's done. And coming up next, our orange and sweet onion salad with cumin dressing, and our dessert challenge of the day, a creamy custard with orange zest. Now, oranges aren't something you typically picture in a dinner salad, but mixed with a beautiful sweet onion and our really spicy exotic dressing is going to be just a perfect starter for this meal. But first, I'm going to make our couscous, which I'm going to serve with the tagine. Now I have 3/4 of a cup of boiling water. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit of kosher salt, a touch of pepper. Then I'm going to stir in our couscous, which is semolina, and it's used widely throughout North Africa and a lot of the Middle East. And it's just a wonderful alternative starch to use. Okay, give that a quick stir, then cover it and remove it from the heat. Now that'll steam for about 5 minutes and it will be done. How easy is that? Okay, next I'm going to make our salad dressing. I have about 1/2 cup of orange juice, about 1/4 cup of lemon juice. To that I'm going to add a tablespoon of agave nectar, which is a wonderful natural sweetener, and very much like a simple syrup, so it incorporates very easily. I have a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a nice flavor that's going to repeat throughout this meal. Ooh, let's put a little salt and pepper in there first. A few grinds from our pepper mill, and whisk it up. Now, for our salad bowl. I have an absolutely stunningly gorgeous head of butterleaf lettuce. In fact, I almost hate to pull it apart, it's so pretty. But I'm going to. This is just such a nice, light lettuce. And it's organic so that I can be assured that it's not raised with toxic chemicals and fertilizers and all of that. Now to that, I'm going to add cilantro. I've just rough chopped some cilantro and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in because I love when I'm eating a salad to get a nice herby bite. So we're using cilantro or dill or parsley, depending on what kind of salad you're making, makes such a nice difference. To that, I'm going to add some sweet onion. Now I recommend a Vidalia or a Maui onion because they really are nice and sweet. Now I'm just going to add a little dressing. Just a little drizzle. Give this a light toss. I really want the onions to get the dressing on them because it incorporates that nicely in the lettuce leaves. And if you noticed, I used no oil at all in that salad dressing. Now I have some beautifully toasted walnuts. Now these are gonna go really nice with the flavors of the dressing. And of course, our gorgeous oranges. Now Spain is known for its oranges. It's a beautiful salad to start your meal with. And next, our couscous is gonna be done, and I'm gonna grab our chicken out of the oven. Now let's take our tagine out of the oven. Oh. This looks and smells fabulous. And our couscous is done. I'm just gonna go ahead and fluff it with a fork. Oh, that's perfect. Couscous is one of those things that's hard to get wrong, so as long as you follow the directions on the box. I'm gonna go ahead and plate this. Try to wrangle all those in there. Now for the chicken. I'm gonna try to lift the chicken with that onion underneath and some beautiful slices of lemon and orange on top. Just like that. And again, we've got that beautiful onion on the bottom. And the citrus on the top is gonna have cooked to the point where even that is really tasty to eat right along with the rest of the dish. And just for a little greenery on the plate, a little bit of fresh parsley. Welcome to Morocco. And coming up next, our dessert challenge. And now for our dessert challenge of the day. I'm gonna make a decadent custard that's low-fat, dairy-free, and I'm gonna pair that with a lovely cinnamon orange zest cookie. Now first I'm gonna start with the cookie, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this recipe because I'm gonna make it gluten-free, dairy-free, and pretty low in fat. It'll be a lot of fun, and I promise you they're gonna taste really good. I'm gonna start with rice flour, a half a cup. And rice flour is gluten-free. So is buckwheat flour, and I'm gonna add a half a cup of this as well. To that I'm gonna add half a cup of sugar, a tablespoon of cinnamon. Oh, I love cinnamon. About 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, just a touch. A teaspoon of baking soda. I'm gonna give this a quick mix. Okay, good enough. Now for a binding agent, instead of adding egg at this point and the fat that would go along with the egg, I'm using a fabulous egg substitute. Now it's really just a number of vegetable starches, and when you mix it with warm water, it will become a binding agent. So I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of warm water to a little dish here. Great. Go. Put in our egg substitute and just stir that up. Add that to our mixture. Now I'm going to start with a fabulous ancient Spanish secret. They actually used olive oil in some of their cookies and baking, and it adds a really, really nice and different flavor. And of course, a lot less cholesterol and fat than using butter. Next, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of orange liqueur, 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed orange juice, and the zest of 1 orange. The cinnamon and the orange in this are just gonna go together amazingly. Let's mix this up. Now this should be a pretty stiff dough so that you can roll it into little balls. Okay, that looks about good. I can really smell all the orange liqueur and the zest and the cinnamon. And now because these have so much olive oil in them, you really don't need to grease your pan. So there we go, that looks good. Now these are gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now I'm gonna make a decadent custard that is low-fat and dairy-free. I'm gonna start with soy milk, about 1 cup of soy milk. And I'm gonna warm that up over medium heat. To that I'm gonna add 1 cup of organic cane sugar. Give it a quick whisk. Okay, well that's warming up. I'm gonna work on our egg mixture. Now to make a fat-free custard or a low-fat custard, I'm gonna use another egg substitute product. But unlike the powdered one that I used in the cookies, this is a real egg product, but it is fat-free and cholesterol-free. It's basically made from egg whites. To that I'm gonna add 3/4 of a cup of fresh squeezed orange juice. And I'm gonna zest 2 oranges. It's gonna taste so good in there. Let's check on our milk mixture. Now that my soy milk's warm, I'm gonna whisk in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch as a stabilizing agent. Fabulous. Now I'm gonna give this a quick whisk together. And I'm ready to combine the two. Now because your milk is warm, you don't want to just pour it into the eggs all at once, you want to temper them. So I'm just going to kind of gradually, switch my hands here, just gradually pour this in. And just kind of give it a chance to mix together. Nothing worse than working on a beautiful custard and accidentally cooking your eggs too fast. Okay, there we go. To that I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of vanilla. 1 last whisk. Let me grab my ladle. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and ladle these into the ramekins. This is gonna make such a light, fluffy custard. It's gonna be just light as air. I'm gonna wanna cook these in a water bath. So I have a hot kettle on. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my pan until about 1 inch to the top of the ramekins. Oops, I don't wanna splash any water in my custard though, very important. Before I put this in the oven, I have to grab my cookies. I can smell them. Cinnamon, orange zest, all of those beautiful recurring flavors that are in our exotic Moroccan Spanish dinner tonight. Oh, look at that. Between the non-stick pan and the olive oil, these cookies are gonna slide right off. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and open up the oven. And very carefully, because you have this in a hot water bath, you don't wanna burn yourself by spilling that water. Gonna slide that into the oven, just like that. And the temperature's the same, 360 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes or until just set. So when we come back, a beautiful organic sangria. I've taken my custards out of the oven and they've cooled off just a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and brulee the tops. Now brulee is French for burn, and it just means I'm gonna sprinkle some sugar on and hit them with a kitchen torch. Now if you're going for a lower sugar diet, you can leave out this step. But it adds just kind of a nice caramelized finish on top, like a creme brulee. And the light and airiness of this custard goes really well with that. You're just gonna hold this slightly above. You'll be able to see that sugar just start to caramelize. You don't want to burn it. And again, I put a really light coating of sugar on here. I don't want a really heavy crust. And to go with those are beautiful cinnamon and orange zest cookies. I'm just going to roll them in some powdered sugar. Again, a step you can leave out if you're on a low sugar diet. This will be such a beautiful end to our exotic Spanish Moroccan dinner. I'm going to try this custard. And next, I'm going to make an organic sangria. That is so good. Nothing says a party like sangria, inviting friends over and turning wine into punch. So I have a lovely Sangiovese. It's an organic wine from Frey Wineries in California, and there's no added sulfites. So there's some naturally occurring sulfites, but no added extra sulfites. I'm going to pour this into our pitcher. Careful not to splash. To that, I'm going to add half a cup of agave nectar. Now, this is like simple syrup, but it's all natural and from the agave plant. And then half a cup of orange liqueur. Or you can use any fruited liqueur that you like. Now for our fruit. I have some beautiful orange slices here. Limes, lemons. Now, generally I recommend making your sangria at least 6 hours in advance, and personally I like to make it the night before. But if you are pressed for time, you can just kind of muddle the fruit around in there to get some of those flavors combining. I'm gonna grab the ice for our glasses. Because we want this nice and chilled. I really love sangria, and using a nice organic wine just makes it a little bit healthier, along with all of that citrus, nice antioxidants. I'll put a little orange slice on each glass there. And thank you for joining me for our fabulous Spanish-Moroccan exotic dinner. And cheers to a healthier planet and a healthier you. Mm.